A staircase on a lock? What's all that about? What we've decided to do now is we've come to Bingley 5-rise locks here at Bingley in West Yorkshire. And we've come to this historical lock behind me. We've come to explore this lock to see what it's all about. The Bingley 5-rise locks opened in 1774 and it's on the Leeds-Liverpool canal. So this lock staircase behind us, what it is, there's 5 consecutive locks that's just sitting on this hillside here in West Yorkshire. People just drive by it on A650 and just think, oh, it's Bingley 5-rise locks. But this canal between Leeds and Liverpool would not have been able to have been constructed if it wasn't for this lock. Obviously, there's other locks on the canal. Every canal needs locks, right? Water cannot go uphill, it is a fact. When they built canals, right, back in 1700s, they were like motorways. They were just the modern day motorway, but they were canals. If you wanted to move out, back in 1700s, by boat were the way. Obviously the canals come before the railways, come before the motorways. The canals were here first, right? And the reason for the canal was to move bulk items and people. So for this canal to get up that hill behind me, it needs this lock staircase. And if it wasn't for this canal lock staircase, the Leeds-Liverpool canal would not be able to exist. It's the only lock staircase of its kind in the UK. 30,000 people flock to this lock here in West Yorkshire to marvel at this piece of engineering that's behind us. So back in 2012, Bingley 5-rise locks needed some new lock gates. They were useless, they were old, they were rotted. So what they did in 2012 is they drained the entire lock and they installed these new lock gates. And they were only 3 years ago and they already look like they've been there for centuries. I mean, what's all that about? Right, so obviously, if these gates are closed behind me, right, the lock will be filled from the top. Every lock's always filled from the top because obviously water flows downhill. So what they do then is they close the gates, and if you can see behind me these two turning wheels, I'll call them turning wheels, they're sluice gates behind me. You can see these 2 sluice gates. So they shut the gates, right, open the sluice gates and the water level will begin to rise. Obviously there'll be a boat at bottom and the boat will begin to rise with the water level. So what they open sluice gates, shut gates, right, then once the lock is full and the water level is at the right level for the boat to float into the next lock, they shut the sluice gates and open the back set of gates. So they go up there, then they keep these gates locked and then the boat will float on and move up the lock. When a boat turns up at Bingley 5-rise locks, right at bottom, for that boat to traverse through the 5-rise locks, it takes about 28 minutes to half an hour. 30,000 people turned up to celebrate the opening of this lock staircase here in Yorkshire. They marvelled at the lock and they couldn't believe it. It was like a feat in engineering. It was cutting edge technology when this lock were built. You know, this was like a marvel in engineering. And look at it, look at vastness about it. Look at, you know, Victorians, they didn't mess about, did they? Whatever they built, right, with regards to infrastructure, right, be it a road, railways, right, they built it to last. I know there's no boats in it at the moment, right, but there's no boats, but it's still here and it's still doing its job. I'm Colin the Head and this is Colin the Head's World of Everything. So there's some ladders here at side at lock, so obviously when gates are closed, the lock's filling up, and you want to get on your boat, right, you use these ladders to get down to water level. Obviously that's why the locks are installed. And another thing as well, if somebody falls in lock, you know, you need to be able to get out. So these ladders, like, you know, they're an important safety feature on these locks, and every lock will have one. Obviously the lock itself is in drain mode at the moment, and as you can see, water is flowing downhill, right, but it's in drain mode. But once these gates are closed, right, this lock will fill up, and obviously whatever's in lock will rise. So basically this is just overflow for Bingley 5-rise locks. It's just an overflow, like on your toilet. You know when you overfill your toilet, ball cock don't go back up, your system keeps filling, right, and then water just starts going out to overflow pipe outside, going all over your patio and stuff and making a great mess, right? This is what this is doing. This is an overflow. This is an overflow for Leeds-Liverpool Canal. Behind me, you can see this concrete gully that runs into this little drainage channel here at the side. obviously it's an overflow, and the water will just cascade through this channel behind me and into this overflow and hopefully down into the canal. This is a textile canal. This is why it was built. This is the reason why this canal was built, and the reason why the 5 large locks were built. It was built to transport bulk items such as coal, textiles, cotton, wool, probably cattle as well. So just another couple of facts about the Bingley 5 rise locks. It's also the steepest lock staircase of its kind, and the actual lock staircase raises the lock 18 metres. This is the lockkeeper's cottage. Like I said, when the lock's in use, obviously it's manned, it's a manned lock, and this is lockkeeper's cottage. And it even says here on this plaque, do not navigate the locks without the help of a lockkeeper. So if you've got a boat, right, and you just come to Bingley 5 rise locks, it's a service the British Waterways provide you with a lockkeeper to safely navigate you through the Bingley 5 rise locks. Right, we're at the top of the staircase here in Bingley, right, and behind me this is the start of the overflow. So obviously this is the top, this is the overflow behind me. There's a swing bridge as well here, so obviously it's closed at the moment, but this bridge behind me will just like swing out of the way and boats will be able to go by and stuff. Every canal's got a towpath. Now, nowadays people just walk along it, not for leisure purposes, because boats have got engines, we all know that. But when the canal was first constructed, the horses used to just pull boats down the towpath, and that's the reason for the towpath. So every canal you'll find will have a towpath outside in it. Back in day when industry used to be about, the canal were built for transporting like bulk items and materials, but today that is not the truth. It's sort of for sole purpose of pleasure. People just get boats and just drive down it, you know what I mean? Just for leisure purposes. Obviously behind me you can see the Bingley 5 rise locks cafe. Everyone's just chilling out outside, having a cup of tea and that. You know what I mean? Just enjoying the scenes. You know, it's a nice tranquil place to come, is Bingley 5 rise locks. Alright love, how we doing? I'm Colin the Head. Did you know we're famous? Did you know how we're famous?
No.
Go on, you ever got YouTube?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, just Colin the Head, mate. I'm called Colin the Head. I'm a local documentarian, and what I've done today is I've just come to Bingley 5 rise locks for my documentaries. I've got documentaries on YouTube, so just YouTube me, Colin the Head. I'm called Colin the Head. I've done loads of videos, and I'm quite famous actually.
So where do you live?
I live in Pontefract.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you go around different parts of Yorkshire?
Yeah, I go all over Yorkshire, and I make like documentaries basically, and that's what I do. I put them on YouTube, and everyone just watches me.
Alright, I'll check you out.
So when I'm famous, just remember you've met.
You said you're already famous.
I am famous. When I'm famouser, what should I say? When I'm famouser, you can say met me. You've met Colin the Head. See you later. So behind me, we've got a milepost. The Bingley 5 rise locks is 111 miles from Liverpool. It's 12.5 miles from Skipton, 12 3/4 actually. Saltaire is just 2 3/4 of a mile in that direction, and Appley Bridge and Leeds, 7 miles to Appley Bridge, and 16 miles from Leeds. So I think that's about it for Bingley 5 rise locks. Colins World of Everything.